So let's start to set the scene with this. Now, it's important that in any business, we pay attention to how well our business is performing. Now, if you drive a car, we all know that we know how well our car is performing because we've got a dashboard, and this analogy is used in lots of different ways. But we know at all times how well our car is performing. And as therapists, we are constantly assessing our clients and our customers by taking measurements, if it's understanding their range of motion, or using dynamometers to see how strong they are. And that we do that continuously during their customer journey all the way to achieve the outcome that we're looking to work towards. And our business is exactly the same. So for me, it's really important that we're constantly or regularly measuring how well our business is improving, or not. In some cases, it might be over time, to really get some good understanding, just like we would do in the therapy journey, of how well we're working. Now, for those of you that have listened to some of the presentations, it can be quite overwhelming. So all we're suggesting to start off with, that try and attempt to measure, do something in your business at least once a month. Now, when we ever start talking about business and measures of success, the word KPI, or key performance indicator, comes up and up again. But simply for this presentation, and simply how I would use this metric term, it's just a statistic, just like we would be doing with functional outcome scores and measures that we would use, and VAS, all those kind of things that we would do in our normal clinical practice. Think about a key performance indicator, or KPI, something similar to that. What we want to do is just find ways to identify how well we're doing in our business. The key, if you are looking to have a successful business and grow a successful business, is first all understand what success looks like to you. And it's from here that we can start reflecting on how well our business is performing as a measure of success. So a quick overview. My aim of this presentation is to attempt to answer these 4 questions, or these 4 acts. So why should we measure stuff? What should we measure? How often should we measure it? And we started to cover that. But then what actions should we take? And there will be some actions that I want you to all take at the end of the presentation. So let's start off with the why. Now, both myself and Phil spend a lot of our time talking to therapists. And one of the things they often avoid is measuring anything in their business. And that's not always a great thing, as we're going to explore during this. And one of the reasons why is because they have this feel of how well their business is performing. You know, the comments we get are, oh, I think we're doing okay. Or, well, as long as the money's in the bank and it keeps going up, then we know the business is in the right direction. Or, oh, we're really, really busy at the moment, so I'm really happy. We're also familiar that when we start to consider all of the data that we could measure, then actually it can become really overwhelming. So we don't really know where to start. Plus, on top of that, as a therapist and working with busy therapists all day, we also understand that most therapists in their business are time poor. They've got lots of other tasks to do. They're multitasking all of the time and trying to find a good work balance. So therefore, what we're looking to do with this presentation is just allow you to either get started if you're new to this, or start to really renew or review what you are doing in your business currently, and how what we've called our Big 6 can really, really help you. Now, the key of this is a really simple system that can be applied dead quickly. It's one I've used in my own personal business for the last over 10 years, and one that we use with all of our clients. And it's something we refer to when we're auditing or analyzing the business. So I know the benefits this can really help for you, and we're going to explain some of them. But the key message at this start is to really understand you need to start creating time to do this. And that means you need to add some new habits into your life. So from here, one of the main actions I want you to take home is, if the one thing you take away is you need to block time out on a regular basis to audit and take actions for your business. Because one would think when we start looking at data can tell us the great times to when we recruit more people, or when to invest more money in our marketing, or to make sure everything's running to plan. But it also could tell you if there's any concerns and there's anything in your business that you really need to start looking at and taking some more drastic actions. It might mean you need to rethink your marketing strategy. It might mean that you need to start putting some time and effort and energy into educating yourselves or into your team or coaching them how to do things better. It might mean that you actually need to start looking at reducing some of your costs or overheads. But either way, as a business owner, I want you to embrace data to allow you to make more informed decisions. And this is only there to help you become a more effective leader and effective business owner to create a more effective business. So these are the 6 that I really want to share with you. And the idea of today is to go through these, but also to tell you why we use them. So the total number of customers, the total number of appointments, the average appointment price, the average customer journey length. But then we're going to look at cancellations, those are unable to attend or with no future appointments. And then we're going to swiftly look at profit. So let's move on to the first statistic that I would always say that we need to be looking at on a regular basis, the number of new customers. Now, hopefully, this is a pretty obvious statistic, right? Because it's important that we want to be recording how many new customers that are coming into our business on a monthly basis. We should all accept that marketing is a key element of developing a successful business. And understanding how many new customers our marketing is attracting into our business should be one of the key performance indicators that you use on this monthly basis. Because marketing blinds can lead to many businesses and business owners overspending, wasting time, effort, and energy that can actually be used in better areas within their business. Now, if we want to make this statistic a gold standard, and this is a massive suggestion I would do, what you should be doing when you are recording all of the new customers into your business, that you make sure you make a note of where that customer has come from. So understanding where they've heard of you. Is it a word of mouth referral? Is it a Google ad? Is it a Facebook ad? Is it the poster that you put up in the local chippy? Doesn't really matter. One of the things that we want to know is that you are documenting these things, because what this allows you to do is then review and really understand how well your marketing is doing. Now, for us, when you get very good at this and you've practiced this and you spent some time, effort, and energy refining this, we can start then to develop almost a target or a goal based on if you're looking to maintain. So if you're already at capacity in your organization, in your clinic, and you're just looking to maintain that and stay nice and steady, then how many new customers do you require per month to be able to do that? Or if you're looking to grow and develop and push things on, then once we understand our numbers really well, we can start making some really good plans of how we can then aim for the next target of pushing how many new customers. So let's move on to total number of appointments. Now, again, this is something that many people do, but why do you do it? So for me, when we start looking at the total number of appointments that you see, let's say on a monthly basis, what this allows us to do is start to calculate what is the total money that we've made from a particular service. Now, on a separate note, for me, when we're looking to define services in an organization, for some of you might have additional revenue streams like a Pilates class, or you might sell equipment, things like that. Attempt to keep each one separate when you're looking at the money made from this or the total number of appointments. Because that way, when you're reviewing things, it's simple for you then to see what is working and what isn't. Whereas if you're throwing it all in together, sometimes when you are auditing, it's not very clear what's working and what's not. So if we're thinking about planning, and hopefully all of you, if you've spent the morning already, you've got loads of ideas and you've been watching the presentations, you're starting to plan what we're going to do from Monday, then you'll be understanding that when we look at the financials of a business, the first thing we want to do is the ability to break even. So we want to be able to pay all of our bills. So the example like I'm going to give today is that let's say we need £3,000 a month to break even. Okay. And we know when we look at the next statistic that we've worked out our average appointment price is £45. Then if we divide that 3,000, which is all our overheads, all of our bills that we need to do, divided by what we charge average per session price, that actually works out at 66.66666. Okay. Now we can't have 0.6 of a person. So if we round that up, that then tells us, for us, we need 67 appointments in a month to allow us to break even. Now, hopefully, your aim isn't to break even. Your aim is to develop profit. But it's also important that when we start looking at statistics and numbers of where we're trying to go and develop, that we understand and ensure that we have to have enough appointments in our diary at the right price to pay all our bills, our staff, and even yourself. Too often do we hear of business owners actually taking less money to make sure all the staff are paid. So understand that when we are planning and we are looking at this number, that it's high enough to cover paying you, your tax, and then also there's room in there for you to make profit. Because for me, profit, and it's something we're going to touch on shortly, is one of the key ingredients to developing a really, really good, successful therapy business. The average appointment price. So first of all, let me define what I mean by this. So this is when we take all of the money from all of our therapy services or any services and divide it up by the number of the total number of appointments. Now, why is this important? Well, what we find an awful lot in many therapy businesses, more the physiotherapy, chiro, osteo, where they take private medical work or medical legal, and then others that offer sports massage at lower rates, or we have a discount for the local running club, or if you're a gym member, you get a little discount as well. All of these are changing actually the money that we're getting per appointment. So it's really common that when therapy businesses start to make decisions, we make decisions based upon the cash price, our full-on price. But actually, we forget or don't really consider that sometimes we're discounting services. So if you go into a Bupa for a session, you might not get the full session. So it's really important that we start to make decisions on our business based not upon the cash price that we think we want to be charging, but actually the real decisions are based around what our average appointment price is. Now, in the past, when we've run workshops for this and we work with our customers for this, what we have found sometimes is some businesses are actually running at a loss when we really delve into this. So it's really important that you fully understand what this is in your organization, in your business, and you monitor it regularly, especially if you are giving deals out or offers out, that you make sure that every time you are seeing a customer, on average, you are making money to pay all of your bills. Because if you then understand that number, you then make a decision of going, is that number good enough to pay all those? And then you can make some decisions based on that. And you can fully understand what it is that you can be doing and how you're going to grow your business. Now, average customer journey length. I have to put this with a side note straight away to say that when we're talking about this, in no way are we or Elevate Your Clinic ever going to encourage you to become unethical in your treatment practice or over-treat. It's one of the things that we believe all good businesses has to have a good clinical reasoning when they're planning and delivering a good customer journey. So please, I say this from the point of an ethicalness. But that aside, when we start to define the average customer journey length, we want to be looking at the number of appointments a customer has in your business from the time they start the journey at the consultation to the minute that we discharge them. Now, in therapy, especially MSK, of where I spend most of my world, each individual case differs so much. You know, the severity differ. People are more acute, some are more chronic. So we might get a customer that just needs you to come in and just have that reassurance or that advice and it's a one session one where you can do that. Whereas we might get a footballer that come in and we return, a whole ACL reconstruction, and, that rehabilitation takes longer. So what we've got to be looking at in our businesses is what's the average customer journey length. And the easiest way to do this is to do it looking at all the individual cases and then divide it by that number of cases. Now, before you get overwhelmed by this, which a lot of good CRM systems can actually do this if we run this as a report. So my idea for you guys is that have a conversation with whatever you're using as your diary management system to help you really then make sure this statistic you understand. And even if you have to do this longhand and audit so many of them, then I would suggest you really look and to see what this is in your business. But why is this important? Well, we want to know on average what we call our average customer spends, because if we know how long a client is on a journey for on average, and we then can work out and we know average sale, we know how much money, remember we're talking business terminology here, that we know how much money on average a customer spends in our organization. And that allows us to make some big decisions, because we can then work out how much profit that we can make or how much profit we make per customer. And what that allows us to do is make some decisions over how we use that money. What do we reinvest that money in? Do we reinvest it back into our marketing, or do we reinvest that back into developing the customer service or get some new services? So it's really important that you take the time to understand that. Now, so from a financial perspective, really important. But if you have a team or in your organization, or you plan to have a team, or you've got lots of people working with you, it can also be used as a statistic for retention. Because we all know that there's a variability in caseloads, but we want to highlight to us what we feel is a good average. What is the typical average if we look at all the variability that come in your clinics? Now, obviously, if you've got a specialized clinic, this is all going to differ. So all of these are individual to you, your business, and what you offer. But also, and it's when we look at this statistic in big organizations and we then look for individual clinicians, sometimes if we know, for example, in this example where we've got John is an ACL and he's had 15 and Mary's 5, we know that in this example, we've got a 6.5 journey average. Now, if you've got other individuals in your clinic, say are averaging around 2 or 3, but everyone else is around 6.5, then it could sometimes mean that as a business owner, you might have to spend some time with that individual clinician to seek to understand why. What is it about that individual that is unable to retain customers like the rest? So again, using these statistics can help you identify if things are going the way you want, or it can say if there's any issues that we can then go on and how we then can continue to go on and support our customers to achieve their goals. So cancellations, unable to attend, did not attend, with no future appointments. Now, within the therapy world, we have to accept all the time that things are going to come up. Customers' plans change, circumstances change, and there will be times where customers are going to need to cancel or rebook. But the key for a good therapy business is to be organized enough to support your customers throughout their journey. If you truly want to be a great therapist and have a great therapy business, the whole aim and goal is to help a customer reach the desired outcome that they want when they first came to you. So you help them along that journey, which means for a good business, we have to support that customer through all the ups and downs that go with it. And when somebody's unable to attend, as a business, what is the best way we can serve them to help support them maintain their journey? For example, if someone doesn't, let's say someone doesn't attend, then as a business owner and as a business, you need to seek to understand why. It might not always be the customer's fault. We call them divvy customers, those people that don't really care in their time above. I still think they're few and far between. there are some people that it could be that actually there's a problem in your own business operations. It could just be the customer forgot, and we get that. But if you start to see a really high number of those, then again, you need to be looking at your own business and thinking about how you can improve and create a better reminder system. Now, we're also aware that obviously we're coming out of post pandemic, so there's lots of things that need to come on. So it's really important that what we use, these statistics, are ways that you are always finding ways to see how we can improve this system and how we can best serve the customer. And that's a really important thing. Because for me, if we're dedicated to really helping achieve a customer achieve an outcome, and we know other people are busy and life's busy, so sometimes it's our responsibility to really understand, once we've got a customer into our system, and let's be totally honest, we've spent a lot of time, effort, energy attracting that customer into our business. So if they then fail to or fall through the net and they appear somewhere or they've got no future appointment and we're not following up on them, so they're lost from our system and we can't track where they are, then for me, that's part of bad business practice or poor business practice, because we've invested to get that customer. So either they're happy with our service and continue on the journey, or they're unhappy from our service. There's something we can learn from and develop, and then we can put that down to make some changes. Because unfortunately, there are going to be times where we have to have those uncomfortable conversations when sometimes not everything in our organization is exactly what the customer wants. But for me, it's really important that we take the time to understand that, because if we know it, it's something we can do about it. It's something we can act upon it. So if we're regularly measuring that, then these are things that we can be rectifying on a monthly, quarterly basis to really make sure that we are doing the best and we're finding those little solutions along the way. But this can only happen if we are measuring regularly what's going on. Now, if we start to monitor these statistics and for whatever reason we're getting quite high rates of these, then it might mean we may need to make some drastic changes. It might mean we need to really address our methodology of which customers we're bringing in. It might mean that we need to look at our own internal team, our business, our administration, and what the things we can do differently. Because the key is, if we want a good therapy business, then we need to also offer great customer service alongside that. And this is a good statistic that sometimes can show us where we are missing. And then my final KPI I wanted to take on board is profit. Now, I know I'm not a finance, so I'm going to leave the finance guys to talk about this. But for me, it's really important that we look at this. And I understand when we're making profit, there should never, ever, ever be compromise for clinical excellence. Clinical excellence is always there. And if you are going to try and make money and poor service, then I can tell you now, you're going to have an unsustainable business and it will only decline over time. For me, a great therapy business can create excellent healthcare and be profitable. And in fact, if you make more profit in your organization, it allows you to invest more either into growing your team, into expanding your services, into buying more cool kit, more diagnostic kit, or anything there to really help improve the outcomes of the customers that you're trying to work with, and then support even more the local community that you're normally really, really a part of. For me, this is something you need to keep an eye on. There's some really guys that are already here. So Obi Hassan and Brent Morrison, who have been here today and are on this, then please do check them guys out if you're understanding how to make profit, because it's really good. But it's important that you understand from profit. And once you understand your profit margin, you can then start to work out how much profit you make per customer. Now, this is really important, because if we start to understand our profit margin per session, this again allows us to understand, and it's this how much we can invest back into attracting more people and much we can interact back into our business and improving our service. And this is a conversation me and Michael are going to have around how much we invest in our marketing later on. So if I can just give some take homes to finish this up, please take some time or make time to audit your business. Use the ebook that we've made for you. Take the time to read that and to go through. Get some help. If you're unsure, get some help, get some support. There's been really some great finance guys. Me and Phil are around always to help if you need a virtual coffee with us. So please, please, please do reach out. Then what you've then got to do, once you've taken the time to analyze this data, and like I say, if you've got a CRM system, they're normally really helpful, then decide what you're happy with and what actions you need to take from this. Take things slowly. Please don't get overwhelmed by this. Some organizations might take 12 months to get this really, really well established in their business. Take it as a pace and a process that you and all of those in the organization, your team around you, can work at that pace. Make sure that you're using data to help you confidently understand where you need to improve. And that when you are making any measurements in a business, that you fully understand why you're doing this and how it's only going to complement you improve your customer service on a long-term basis. Because once you become really confident with the data that you're creating, then what it allows you to do is make less emotional decisions and then more data-driven decisions. And when you get to that point, then you have a really good chance of growing that massive successful practice if you want to do, or it allows you to work at the level that you want to do. So I wish you all really good luck with your journey. And then I'm going to open the floor up for some questions. So really thank you for listening and taking the time.
Thank you, Andy. As always, a thought-provoking presentation, and we do have 2 or 3 questions in there. What I'm going to do is run the poll, because there's a poll that we've got set up here, which I'm just going to run now. So please join in with that poll. And while you're doing that, I'll set up the first question, which is, do you track customer spend per case, Andy, or think of the lifetime value of the customer?
Really good question. For the purpose of this, I think firstly, not to overwhelm everybody, think about it over a case for now, because that way it's something that often runs a report easily on many CRM systems. But the gold standard, Angie, great question, would be certainly that you would then look at that over time. I think that's a really good way to be thinking about it, but only once you've got the case-by-case basis nailed, and then you can look at them over time. And to add further to that, if you're really good and get your referral system internally looking at, you can even link. So let's say Phil has been to see myself in clinic, but then he refers 3 of his friends. You could almost link that spend to Phil's referral if you wanted to as well.
Thank you, Andy. You can see, I think the question from Matt's quite a detailed one. So while you think about the answer, I'll just play out Matt's question. It would appear that the product being sold in private practice it relates to units of time. That time has a value assigned to it, and there will be a ceiling to this based upon factors such as local competition, expertise for therapists, etc. Where time is also limited because of the number of limited hours in the day or the number of clinic rooms, isn't there a ceiling to which an individual business can achieve? But then that goes on to, how does the business grow beyond this? And is there a risk that lower value or value professions such as massage would therefore be seen as lower value and lose out to more premium slots within the diary?
When Matt says sorry for a long question, if we ever all know Matt, he's not sorry at all. He's put that in. He's in a public chat. Really, really good question. And I guess, so for me, there's 2 ways to think about it. Unfortunately, we do bill by time unless we are going to be developing other kinds of models. And I know there was a conversation this morning talking around how else can we add a value into our business. For me, if we then answer the first bit, so we're time limited, so what's the ceiling for an individual to achieve? Well, for me, if you're a good therapy business owner, you transition from being the therapist to the therapist coach and mentor. You know, one of the greatest transitions I ever made in my organization when I was transitioning out from being a therapist into a leader was being proud of the team that I created. And as the team grew, what I was really proud of how they embraced and approached their customers and their clients and the whole values that we'd created as an organization. So for me, as we start to grow, we take the core elements of what you develop as a business and then you educate and train all those people in your team. So the same values are being done, but we can do volume and it's not reliant on me. And that's where good for me, education and coaching of other team members in your organization. So I hope that kind of answers that, Matt. If we're then talking around the risk of lower fiber sessions like massage, so we all understand that within any kind of journey, and especially a rehabilitation journey, a lot, you know, or in a relaxation journey, however people see and view massage as an appropriate thing, it holds a place. So the key for me is then we either charge an appropriate value for massage. So do we undervalue it? That's a question for another day, which probably a podcast with Matt. But also, if it then becomes an additional service, so let's use an example that you have a knee replacement, then sometimes a session like a sports massage might be a good treatment modality as well as doing some exercise. So there's an argument from a business, there's an increase in added value by having that. But from a customer perspective, we're actually getting a really elite service because we're getting some soft tissue work and we're getting some rehabilitation work. So I can see that the two really, really work together. So I would argue that by doing the both together, we create a premium service. What we've just got to be careful of, if we are charging different prices, that as a business, we're not making decisions upon the premium price. We are working out our actual average. I hope that answers that.
I think it does, Andy. Thanks. And I was just thinking, as I was listening to you there, the importance actually of thinking about this in terms of a customer journey to recovery. So actually the point that, you know, massage, as you've suggested, could play a really important part of that recovery journey. So actually discounting it purely on the basis that it generates less revenue is a short-term gain in a sense from a business point of view, but actually in the longer term, it's going to mitigate against great customer reviews and people kind of making a full recovery would be with my 10 penneth on that. One here from Andrew about what CRM tool would you recommend? Now, I know we talk a lot behind the scenes with all sorts of people about CRM tools, so it's always a tricky one. And I suppose the answer in a nutshell is they all have their shortcomings.
100%, Phil, and that's, you know, so it's a really good question. I think it's one that could be debated long and hard, and I don't think the answer is there is the perfect one. They've all got the real good strengths, and they've all got, you know, things that that could be better. It'd be nice if they all communicated together and shared the best bits, and then that would be the perfect scenario. The kind of cop-out answer, but the real answer is that you've got to find one that suits you the most and understand him. Now, the other question I would ask around this, Andrew, is when you're picking a CRM tool, what is it that you want it to do? So don't pick a CRM system because all your mates are using it or you've heard some good reviews in a Facebook group. First, identify what it is that business operationally that you want to do. How is the process of the customer journey going to go through your business? What statistics are you going to be basing your business decisions upon? And then choose a tool that actually suits those. So if you're doing it, so I would then, first of all, write your own journey, write your own statistics that you want. And then it's about going to all the organizations, the Clinico, the Janes, the Nucles, the TM3s, and just say, which ones of those are the closest to delivering what it is that I actually want my business to deliver?
I think that's a good answer, even though I say it myself, Andy. I think too many organisations, and when I say that, I'm thinking about within and beyond the therapy industry, choose nice shiny bits of kit, software particularly, because it looks like a great tool, rather necessarily than thinking I have a specific need within my business. And it's probably more relatable if you're in a treatment room, because why would you go and buy an X piece of kit over Y piece of kit? And the answer is you would have thought about it first, understand what value it's going to create, and if it's going to help the individuals you're going to work with. And if you do that, then you're going to get a return on that investment. The same really should be true for any software that you're thinking of. A couple of questions from me, because we've got a couple of minutes.
Okay.
So they're not curveballs, mate. You'll be glad to know. So I know you're very passionate about KPIs. Can you just say something about how you use them in practice within your own businesses?
Yes, certainly, Phil. So we have the easiest way to describe this is in our office, we've got a massive whiteboard and sits those 6 statistics that everyone can look at and use. So for us, if we go back let's go back to the 6 of them. So these are things that we would look at all the time. And what we've done is set targets next to these. So we know how far we want to grow in the next 12 months. And then what we've then done is given ourselves what the increments that's going to be. So we know by January, we're going to need 5 more customers a month and so we work that out. So from there, because we know our average journey length is monitoring, we can kind of work out where we sit. Our average appointment price is always making sure that we're always staying in profitable, and does our average appointment price and our new customers and total number of appointments start working towards the target of how much money we want to earn, if that makes sense. So in here, it almost works bottom up. So we understand where we want to finish the year, how much profit do we need to make, because we've got some ventures to buy, new clinics and bigger things. So where would that sit, especially if you're an organization looking to grow? How much money do you want to make and develop to buy some more shockwave machines, or you want to buy that bigger building, or you want some force plates, whatever it is that you want. And then we use those other statistics to help us understand along the way if we're on the right path, but also making sure using our average journey length and our cancellations UTA statistics to make sure that operationally we're doing things well, to making sure there's no flaws at all, to making sure that, just because we're expanding, that actually what we're doing is keeping all the relevant things working the way we need to work them. Does that answer that?
It does, thank you. Yeah, and also you've started to answer there, but about how you engage the team with that information and how you develop and grow as a consequence.
Yeah, it's really about the why. So when we talk about all these statistics, we're dead clear with the team. There's complete clarity, and we encourage that with every one of the owners that we work on, isn't it? Why are we looking for this? Why does a company need to make profit? Well, the reason is because most employees are going to knock on your door every 12 months and ask you, can I have a pay rise, please, boss? So that money's got to come from somewhere. You can't just go, oh yeah, you can have another $2,000 ER if the organization isn't actually making it. So, and we're really clear. There's complete clarity all across. So, yeah.
That's excellent. Well, I think we've got about 5 minutes left, Andy, but we'll let people go and put the kettle on and stretch their legs in preparation. Thanks for a really informative session, and I hope that everybody listening in enjoys the balance of the afternoon and the content at Therapy Live Business. So thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks to you for listening and watching. Take care, everybody.